ASK Knives, MKT USA, all of it. It's madness. Just madness. I have a couple of announcements for y'all today. Two, in fact. They're big uns. Remember now, we canceled the Praetorian, and I saw uninformed maroons, total fucking jagaloon jadrules, talking out of their ass, saying this and saying that. And I think I've explained myself pretty extensively on it, but as is the case, as I said, there's still some whip. Whip is work in progress. There's some stuff in the system. So the last batch of Praetorian ties have come through. The only Praetorian ties we have left after this batch, it's a very, very small batch. It's less than 20 knives in the whole company. After this batch comes through, then that is it. These are just some whip that was working its way through the process, worked through the system. I have a big announcement tomorrow at high noon Arizona time. So if you type in noon Arizona time, see spring ahead, fall behind, boom, boom, boom. I think we're 3 hours from New York right now. So you East Coasters, I think we're 3 hours behind you. Californians were in the same time as you. And then everybody in the middle, what the fuck ever. Maybe that's how it works. I can't remember. In any case, I just know that at noon Arizona time tomorrow, I'm going to make a huge announcement about the last Praetorians. I'm going to make announcement about our new lineup. I'm going to make an announcement about a new line of really affordable knives that are all USA made that I think is going to fucking make the internet break. I'm going to let you know about our Medford Black Card, which you guys will be able to get. I think it should be kind of fun. It's a 032 Titanium Black Anno, laser engraved. It's got everything you need on it to tell you all about this kind of new thing that I'm doing. Business owners who run an enterprise of this size occasionally have to go to the bank and borrow money. Occasionally you have to go here and borrow money. Occasionally you sell part of your company. Occasionally you have an equity event. And I want to do something. My Amy's dad, back when I was married, he told me about something, one of the companies he worked for. It was one of the venerable tractor companies that make tractors here in the United States. He said that for the last 100 years, one of the things they had done is whenever the economy got slow, they basically went lateral. They build market share and build their base, and they're slow to launch new, but they build their base. When the economy comes back strong, they're bigger than ever. So they're not as top line driven during slow times. They go, hey, it's a slow time. We get diminishing returns for all this effort. Let's broaden our base because we get big rewards on those, but we just don't get them now. We get them on the next uptick. So, just like the cycles of the tides and the cycle of the moon traveling around the planet, the cycle of the economy has a tendency to go up and down. And it's because politicians are reactionary. It's because there's a natural kind of oscillation of things. Politicians are very reactionary. They all want to claim credit for everything. And very few of them do anything significant enough to change things immediately. One of the things that changes life immediately are energy prices. And if we don't have some major turning upside down of things, and we're not living in fucking upside down land in November, I believe we're going to get an energy-friendly president. I believe that steel's being bought now, the equipment's being pre-positioned, and that the drilling industry is going to take off. I think we'll see gas $1.25, $1.50. There's this conspiracy against normal people. It's a propaganda. And the reason we know it's propaganda, the same people that wanted us in masks or it was the end of the world, the same people who said the vaccine is safe or it's the end of the world, those same people are the same people who saying global warming is we're destroying the planet and it's the end of times and we need to change everything or it's the end of days. They're the same people if we're taking guns away. They're the same, at some point you believe in enough wrong-headed dumb fuckery that the rest of us call you out and say, hey, go sit in a corner, You're wrong so often, you get nothing from me. You're wrong. You couldn't be wrong this consistently unless you actually tried. If you just flat ass fucking guessed on the issues, you'd be right and wrong 50% of the time. A fucking monkey would do better than leftists in this country would do. How did they do on recycling? Waste of time, not efficient, silly. I just heard a story with a person I had lunch with telling me that the recycles at their school go into the same dumpster as the garbage in the back, but they've got all the kids doing the recycling things to keep up appearances of recycling. And I feel like that's a microcosm of everywhere. I feel like there's some recycling going on and it could be really valuable, but there's a lot of fuckery going on. Oh, I can't talk now, I'm on a video. So that's one thing. They want green energy for everything. Solar. Well, they don't really understand how that works. The people who want solar don't understand how that works. They don't understand the cost benefit analysis and how that affects life here in America, what it costs, the yield, the return, the amount of energy taken to make it, the lifespan. They don't understand that. They're the same people who want you to drive a battery-operated car that makes nickel, chromium foam waste and destroys the environment and essentially causes more damage to the environment than like a Hummer does if you drive it for 100,000 miles. These electric vehicles, they don't run on nothing. So I tell people, how do you feel about nuclear power? Oh, that's bad too. You have a meltdown and blah, 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 blah. We don't want nuclear power. Nuclear power is the only answer. But they're against nuclear power, but they're all for electric cars, which use nuclear power in the entire southwestern United States. So like nothing about them makes sense. Anything that a liberal tells you about, anything they tell you about, they are so wrong on so much. Here's another one. The world's got too many people. It's overpopulated. It's destroying the planet. There are a lot of people here, no question about it. Do we have a resource problem? No. We don't have a resource problem in this country. Resources are actually pretty easy and efficient to get. And the ones that are really hard to get, we're pretty good at recycling. It's everything they say. Everything should be suspect because they're wrong on so much. Liberals are wrong. Their ideas, it's like where a baby would start thinking. Like it's where an 8-year-old would start thinking. And being liberal on things is basically where an 8-year-old would end thinking, devoid of all facts. My heart believes this because I just saw Lion King, therefore it's true. So now I want public policy to back up my heart because I saw Lion King and Hakuna Matata, and I love the lion. Nothing makes sense. And when you tell them facts, they're like, kind of, you can see it jostles them a little bit, and then they go, oh, he must be making that up. It can't be that. It can't be like that. You start talking to, these are funny. They're fucking liberal arts majors, and I was a liberal arts major, so no poison on liberal arts majors, but they're typically liberal arts majors who didn't have a minor in mathematics, and they didn't have a hard background in physics, material science, and such, and they don't have a career like that. It doesn't really matter what your degree is. It's like, what have you been doing? Your professional career. And what I find is there are very strong opinions from people who don't know much. And they're adamant about it. Now, they're the same people who are every issue. Let's see if we can come up with issues. They're wrong on Ukraine. They're wrong on Iran. They're wrong on gender. They're wrong on bathrooms. They're wrong on gender assignment for children. They're wrong on energy policy. They're wrong on global warming. They're wrong on recycling. They're mostly wrong on abortion. They're very wrong on incarceration. They're wrong on prosecution, the criminal justice system. They're wrong about freedom of speech. They're wrong about securing our borders. They're wrong about renewable energy, wind, solar, and nuclear they're wrong about. They're wrong about electric cars. What are they right about? Theoretical shit. Every city they run in America is a shithole. They run most of the cities inhabited by brown people that they misinform and get to vote their way and entrench them and then complain that the white man's keeping them down. When in fact, as Malcolm X said, there is nothing more dangerous to the black or brown person's, the skin of a person of black or brown skin, than a white liberal coming to rescue them. They're wrong about everything. So, what got me going on this? They're just wrong about everything. So, we've never had a president able to actually turn things so quickly. You know, we learned during the first Trump presidency, we learned that as soon as somebody frees up commerce after generations of arbitrary pressure put on America by big corporate interests. Now, it's the military-industrial complex. It's the information-industrial complex. It's the pharmaceutical industrial complex. It's the corporate consumerism complex. The big companies where the profits become more important than the mission. Those companies and their collusion with government have misinformed us for generations. It is a red pill, blue pill moment in this country, folks. And what's going to happen here is we've had a false recession. We're having a false depression right now. And the reason, like, we all know it, but nobody's saying anything. Nobody's saying anything because the powers that be don't want the next guy to get elected. They don't want you to vote for change. They want more of the same. So the stock market, interestingly, has done pretty well, and the rest of us have done for shit. Now, it's interesting. Your average person's life, excepting 3 or 4 major cities in this country, could be wrapped up in about $75K a year. And that's not a life of largesse. That's just kind of a chill life, not too fucking nuts, not obsessed, not with agita and fucking burping up stomach acid from the stress of your profession. The average life takes about $75K in the United States. I've done the math a bunch of times. I've asked a lot of people about it. Bare numbers. Maybe now it's a little bit more. But here's what happens. If you have a life about that size, which is the vast majority of America, and you double the price of energy, which you need for everything. Your cheeseburger travels an average of 550 miles in the United States to go from fucking hoof to your mouth. Your lettuce, your tomato, everything you consume, gasoline, petroleum, all kinds of stuff. Everything travels big distances to get to you. They say, oh, we're just going to tax the gas. You're not going to notice it. Here's what I notice. My gas has doubled. Every time I go to the pump to fill up my pickup truck, it's over $100. It drives me crazy. Next thing, I go to the groceries. The amount of groceries that $200 buys has collapsed into what I call a quick trip. A quick trip to the grocery store is $200. I can't believe how much stuff's costing. So we're getting ready. Now, the powers that be don't want you to open up. They don't want you to pull your head out of your ass. It's the allegory of the cave from Plato's Republic. They don't want us to walk out of the cave and let our eyes adjust to reality. They want us to sit in the cave with our back to the fire, watching the shadows go by on the cave wall. What are the shadows? The images cast from a group of objects run across a moving belt behind us. This is Plato's analogy of truth and reality. Most Americans are sitting with their back to the fire. There's a light cast by the fire. Objects are moving across and being projected up onto a screen in front of us, not a mountain cave. On the screen in front of us, the television, are false objects, shadows of reality. Misinformation, disinformation. Misinformation, disinformation. I speak to my citizens and they are mostly ill-informed. Well, Greg, how can you say that? Because truth is not subjective. Because history is not subjective. Because the Crimean Peninsula and the Donbass Accord and what's going on in the Middle East and Iran and what's going on with Hezbollah and the Palestinians and Israel, that's not subject to interpretation. How it's going to play out, we don't know. Who threw the first rock? We've got a decent idea. The thing is, when I talk to people, I can tell if they're spouting programmed agenda. The first thing that happens, and these are the stages, it's almost like the stages of grief. The first thing that happens when you're confronted by something that challenges the status quo, which is anything that a person in a suit on a company licensed by the federal government to, these companies are licensed by the federal government at threat of revocation, which has never actually happened, every single year, and then they hobnob with each other, so they keep in good standing. Those folks in Washington and New York and LA who broadcast to us, they're in collusion with the government because they have to be. They can't keep talking every night unless the government gives them the stamp of approval, the Politburo from the White House, the FCC. So the government is in collusion, licensing the people, giving us truth. Don't believe anyone who's in a suit on a government-sanctioned information network to talk to us. Why? Because I have experienced things, and those of you, be a witness to something, a crime, a crash, a something, and watch how it's portrayed on the news. It's very different. Oh, that's interesting. And then you just interpolate. Say, oh, okay, if my little incident is twisted that much, how much are big incidents twisted? Everything's twisted. Not only do you have the individual bias of reporters, which is no longer even a thing, like no one's trying to hide it. You know, Walter Cronkite said, we always have our own opinions, but we have to keep them to ourselves. We try to play the ball down the middle of the plate. We try to play honest. They're not trying anymore. That's not the attempt. You can hear it in their language because they've been at wussy colleges, not learning through the Socratic method. They've not been challenged on being right or wrong. It's just how you feel, which is a very feminine thing. I think of Jack Nicholson from As Good as It Gets. I think it was Diane Keaton said, how do you write a woman so well? And he said, it's not that complicated. I imagine a man to take away reason and accountability. She was stunned he could write a woman so well. I love women. I think they're wonderful. My mom, my daughter, women in my life, I love them. There's something uniquely special about them. They're not great at geopolitics. Their special skill is not great at that, in my opinion. Anyways, I've been banging my head against the wall here with you guys for all these years now, and we've been watching what's happening. I've grown up living in a kind of malaise of an economy, one that's kind of had a downward pressure on it. If you're just special enough, you can get ahead. If you just work hard enough, you can get ahead. Well, it turns out they don't want us to really be that successful, because when you get successful, you don't mind speaking your mind. The more successful you are, the more prone you are to speak your mind. Look at Elon Musk, the baller extraordinaire, speaking his mind, and the most loved green energy electric car, probably done more for the green energy movement than anybody who's ever existed on planet Earth, hated by the left now because he is a freedom of speech advocate. God forbid, that's a cornerstone of modern liberalism, is the ability to enter the marketplace of ideas and compete with your arguments and your thoughts and your words. Kill God, worship Darwinism, worship science. Social Darwinism, bad, must control from higher power, government. There's a disconnect that lefties have. I digress. I wanted to tell you guys about this amazing things we have going on and this really cool announcement I'm going to make tomorrow, high noon Arizona time. I'll tell you about it now. Tomorrow at noon, I'm going to make a huge announcement about our Medford Black Card, about the last Praetorian ties that will be available in their current form, maybe ever. The amount, I got a lot of quiet support, and I got some people who are like, I hate Greg Medford. I'm never supporting that company again. Killing the Praetorian's the dumbest thing ever. I'm done with this company. I'm like, over a product? You're fucking, all this shit that I've said that they've been supportive of, and I'm stopping a product because I need to launch some cool new one and I need some bandwidth to do new creative things, and they're fucking done with me. People are bananas. Here's my challenge to everybody, okay? And there's Gigantes floating around out there now. The Gigantes, my knives that I've made that are no longer available by me, they at the secondary market, the price goes up on them kind of stupid. And I look at that very, very little, and it doesn't steer me. Um, I am gonna do I'm gonna do next year some special knives. Okay, these are black card knives. Only people who get the black card with me will have access to these knives. I'll make one run of them. I will make them only for the folks who jump in on the black card program, and anybody who jumps in will get one of these knives. And then when I'm done making the knives for that singular run of knives, I'm gonna on live on the air, put it on the water jet, and cut the tool in half. And what's going to happen is, let's say 300 people participate, I will make 300 of those knives, and that's all that'll ever exist. I think they'll become extreme collector pieces. I'm going to do it from time to time for our black card holders. It should be really, really fun. And I am transitioning. I thought I should let you all know that. I am transitioning a good part of the company over to $200 pocket knives. I've come up with some really cool designs, and my team is really supportive. And what we want to do while everyone else is raising prices and reacting to the economy, and I have done the same thing. I had a wonderful epiphany, and I was talking with the CEO from K-Bar Knives, and John and I were kind of going back and forth, and I hung up the phone with him. I was like, you know what? I'm bringing $200 knives to the marketplace. No China, man. No China. Made right here in the U.S. All made in the U.S. I may get some sheaths made in Mexico. I may get a couple of little parts, I don't know, maybe South Korea, maybe Taiwan if I can, but nothing from China. But we're making it all here. We're going to make the blades and coat and sharp and shape and steels from here. I've got a bunch of steel right now coming from K-Bar, because they have a bunch of surplus, so I'm buying a bunch of their steel. I'm gonna make a bunch of knives out of that. If it was good enough for fucking vanquishing Hitler and the sneaky Japs of World War II, the Pacific Theater, it's good enough for Amazon boxes and your camping adventure. So I've got a cool line of Main Street knives coming out. I think we're gonna call them Main Street knives. We already kind of do Wall Street, so Wall Street to Main Street, Medford Knife and Tool. I think it should be awesome. So I'm going to make the knives. We'll make the blanks here. We'll do all the grinding here. We're going to do the coatings here or within a couple miles of my shop. And I'm gonna do something kind of crazy. I kind of got challenged. I challenged John from K-Bar to make in the USA because he was getting a lot of stuff made in China and elsewhere. And I know a couple other folks have done that. Someone asked for budget knives. Wait a minute, what does this say? Someone asked for budget knives on one of the last lives, and you said no way, and used spider code as an example. I can't remember what that was, but it's probably because I won't make stuff. I won't make stuff in China. I just won't do it. But I did some different locking mechanisms. Greg, that's smart. Luxury goods now are falling off the cliff. Can't you do clever? No. There are all kinds of solutions, and I'm just going to mimic what I've heard about venerable American companies doing when the economy is down, broaden and then go up. You'll be able to tell mine from the next. They're going to be pretty cool. So yeah, I don't want to make a bunch of blah knives that look like everybody else's. No question about it. Part of that is I'm not like in the knife world. And I think a lot of guys are really in the knife world, and because of that, it affects their brain. I try not to look at anybody else's stuff, so whatever I draw comes up unique. I am looking at, you guys can't see it, it's on my monitor right now. I've had a couple of great friends come in and see them recently. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all new original knives that I'm going to bring to the market for between 190 and 225. And then I have 2 brand new drawings, and I have the replacement for the Praetorian, which is, I haven't picked a name for it yet. I have that sitting over here, the drawings. So 2 new legacy knives, and then 6 new knives for our Main Street line. And I think we're going to call it the Main Street line, from Wall Street to Main Street, Medford Knife and Tool. We make, you know, if you're a baller at the top, or you don't want to lose your knife and you beat the shit out of them, you're going to take on an adventure and it might get taken by security. I think it'll be great. And so Sippin, why don't you like lockback models? Tell me about that. Because I actually like lockback models, so I'm curious. The good economy, it's a great idea. Okay, yeah. I'm curious to hear back from Sippin. And Chris, don't worry, we're always going to make our legacy line. The $200 fixed blades are going to be $10.95. The $200 folders are going to be S35 or S45 VN. And then as we do each subsequent model, we'll play with the steels just for fun, you know. Not a big fan of buck, and they're really lean on that type. And they really lean. You know, the thing about a backlock, and it's funny, I have 3 backlock models of my style, and what's great about them is they can cut out on a wired EDM, so I can make all the parts one way and get a really cool knife out of it. And I could do it here in the US with my current equipment, and then I can use my CNC capabilities to do really cool adornment, sculpting on the outside. So we've got a lot of really cool stuff going on. A hollow handle survival knife. It's funny you mentioned that. I have a design for a hollow handled survival knife, and I also have, and instead of a 1918, we're calling it a 2024 knuckle trench knife, which knuckle buster trench knife, which is pretty cool. So I have some really beautiful knives. I think you guys are going to love them. The blade thicknesses are going to be 150. Some of them maybe 125. Handle thicknesses are going to be 125 to 150. And it should be really cool. And then my Black Card Club, what I was going to tell you about. Jeez, I get so sidetracked. Just enjoy the fucking show. It's unscripted. You know, a lot of companies my size find ways to generate money, and they usually do it by, selling part of the company. They do it by making big compromises, and they do it by selling their soul. And I'll be honest with you, I have started the whole company on orders. I started with the Praetorian, and you guys bought so many knives, I had money to build a company. And it was a sort of crowdfunding that happened. And so I guess I should tell you guys about this right now. If you guys stick around to the 29-minute point of the video, you guys will like this. So if you buy one of the black cards, I have a feeling they're going to be collectible. A black card, it's $1,000. When you buy the card, here's what you get. In 12 months, it matures into 1,250 MKT bucks. You get 25% return on your investment. Or door number 2, and that's door number 1. Door number 2, you buy a black card. We'll send it to you in the mail, and it'll have your number on it. It'll have what number card you got, all your relevant information, QR code on the back, instructions. And at the end of the year, for everybody who participates, you have an option. You can pick, I want 1,250 Medford bucks for my $1,000. That's 1. Or 2, I want one of the black card knives. So we're going to do black card -1. And the Black Card Dash 1 will be a knife we make. I'll do a small run-off for whoever buys a Black Card and chooses the knife option. And we will send you the knife, and you should put your card and your knife together. It's not like crypto at all. Jesus fucking Christ. You take your card and your knife and put them together. So if you guys are speculative knife buyers or collectors, I want you to imagine this. You buy a $1,000 knife, for which there will likely never be more than a couple hundred, ever. Done one time. It has the card and the knife go in the box together. And that's the only ones that ever get made. What do you think that knife is worth in 5 years? If I stop making the Praetorian tie and never made it again, which is likely to happen, what do you think a Praetorian tie is going to be worth in a few years? Really? What do you think it'd be worth? If you paid $1,500 for it and I haven't made them again, what do you think that knife would be worth? Hey, Lindsay, let's ask. How much are the Gigantes going for on the secondary market?
I think over 1,000.
Over $1,000. Oh, yeah. How about a General?
I don't even know.
Yeah, because I heard some crazy numbers for those. And then, okay, that's it. So my point is, these things have a tendency when they're limited, they become kind of stupid valuable. So I just decided, instead of going to a bank and letting those guys stick it up my ass and dealing with the proctology exam that you have to do, plus all of the paperwork that's required, and it's a lot, and more like non-recourse debt or more recourse debt, instead of me going and doing that, instead of me selling a chunk of the company just so I can get a cash capital raise to do this, I figured I'd offer these cards up, and it allows people. Always say, Greg, what can I do to help? Okay, well, here it is. Let me borrow $1,000 for a year. I'll give you back $1,250 in knife. So I'm either going to give you 1,250 Medford bucks to buy whatever you want with Medford knife and tool, or you can buy one of the Black Card knives when they come out. You know, you can commit to one of the Black Card knives. So your knife will cost you $1,000. We will make a small run of them. We will cut the tool in half. I think the Black Card is going to be, I think it's going to be very fun. I think guys are going to speculate about what the designs are. I'll float some design ideas throughout the year. Then I'm going to make a run of knives, and everybody who picked the $1,250 option to get Medford bucks and just buy some Medford knife stuff, they're going to be bummed they didn't get the speculation knife. The speculation knife is going to be really cool. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to work really hard to blow everybody away as a thank you for basically lending us the money to launch 8 new products. Because I need to go to the bank to borrow money to launch some products right now. That's it. And I don't want to do it. I would rather do it with you guys. And I think it would be a ton of fun. I think you guys, this fucking, knives are boring after a while. They're just fucking knives. It's just fucking knives. Bunch of guys masturbating online with their masturblading. I want to have some fun. You can buy it with Zezel if you want to make payments. Somebody just mentioned that. So what'll happen is the card will be one-time use card. It'll be good for that one purchase, and the knife should go in the box with it. They kind of go together. If it's successful, and people want to jump in and buy more cards, if it's successful, then we'll figure out if it sells too many of them, we'll pause it and go, that's enough, thank you. And you know what? If it goes really well and everyone really enjoys this kind of Black Card concept, kind of like the anticipation and waiting on the thing to be released, then I think we'll run it again at some point. But people say, all the time, hey, if you invest in companies invest in companies you love. You shouldn't pick stocks. If you're an under $1 million investor, you should just buy mutual funds. Why? Because you don't know. You guys who follow, if you like what we do, this is an opportunity for you to kind of jump in. And it's a tiny investment, and it'll be fun to see what you get out of it. Now, what you're going to get is different than what you're going to participate in. If you do this and you jump in and you buy one of the black cards, and let's say hey, look, in the best of all possible worlds, I'd like to sell 250, 300 black cards, because that would be enough money for me to launch 8 new products. And then what I will do, I don't want NFTs. I want a real card. I actually think the cards are going to be collectible. I think the cards are going to be collectible. I think these cards are going to go for money afterwards. So what we're going to do with these titanium black cards is we're going to show everybody who participates. We're going to do a private screening for everybody. We'll do a private show where you guys can get in, and I'm going to give you first shows of the drawings of the new products that your crowdfunding is going to help basically launch into the marketplace. You know, people do crowdfunding all the time. I see crowdfunding. I was doing crowdfunding before crowdfunding was a fucking thing. The ability to kick a little money into a company that love and support. You know, if Porsche called me up and said, hey, Greg, we know you've had umpteen Porsches. Would you mind kicking in $5,000? We've got 1,000 of you who've had more than 5 Porsches, all kicking in $5,000, and we're gonna launch a new car with the C. I would do that in a fucking second, just to be part of making a new product, you know, for a brand that I really like. So I just thought it would be fun. I've had so many opportunities to interact with all of you lunatics. It's been very touching. And you guys have been part of the company's growth since the beginning, and I need your help now. The next thing we're gonna do, if this turns out successful, we're gonna basically like do things for black card holders. That should be a ton of fun as a thank you. I know the Centurion program has been great. It was an educational kind of thing. And now we're going to do a little like a financial participation reward. And then while we're doing this, what you're doing through this kind of upper end fun little investment program is you're funding a bunch of entry level stuff. You know, I'm going to bring 6 knives to the market that are under 200, 225 bucks, USA made knives from my company, which is really cool. And what that's going to do is it's probably going to make me sell a lot more of them for a lot less profit, which is okay. But I get to employ more people, and I get more entry-level customers who maybe become aspirational in the silo towards a Praetorian at some point, or whatever the new cool knife is that we make. You guys talk about Lindsay. Her husband Ed's fucking awesome, and Lindsay's spectacular, and she is fun to have a cocktail with. She's great. She's hilarious. Anyways, that's what's going on. We're not making this about Greg, and we're not making it about Amy. We're really making it about you guys. And I want to do something fun to allow so many people to participate. And if it goes well and it funds delivering some new products to the market, so that, you know, a lot of you guys have got kids in college. Or what if your kid wants to buy a knife? You know, it'd be nice if your kid could go out and buy a $190 USA made, really cool, from a badass company, American made knife. I'm not changing my views on American made. You guys know how I feel about that. But I am thinking about how to touch more people, how to get in contact with more people, how to impact more people. And then making sure those folks have a way to jump into the brand, and then have a chance to, as time goes by and these kids graduate from college and they become more successful and they've got more money and they do their aspirational home and their aspirational car, there's an aspirational knife waiting for them. It's really a long arc. You know, thinking on like a 50-year timeline, and I can't do it all by myself. I need you guys to help. So that's the information. I'll let you guys know tomorrow at noon. Everything's gonna pop. So I will give you all the information and direct you to the Black Card program. I'll direct you to our last Praetorian TIE Vault. I was gonna say the last TIE Fighter. Isn't that like a Star Wars cartoon or something? Anyways, it's a lot of great stuff, and we're trying to do things. This is what you do when the economy's flat. You either stick your head up your own ass, or you decide to like get creative and start doing fun things, and that's what we're doing. Like, how can we get more people? How can we get more people involved? How can we touch more folks? How can I want my booth at Blade Show to be fucking madness? How do I do that? I've got more people. I've got to get more people. Okay, I've seen a couple of questions. I'll answer this one. ASK tools, there are more coming. Like, for instance, the ASK saw. We have a bunch of things coming out. We'll be announcing. It hasn't been our driving focus since we've been working on the OTF so much. The OTF now is delivering, and it's got a life, and it's kind of going to chug off into the future. We've got a short OTF in development. We've got a really big one in development in drawing stage. And then I've really got to launch the Main Street series, the Pro series, the new Legacy brand knives, 2 of those, and it should be one hell of a year. Thank you guys very much for poking your head in. Big shout out. There have been so many wonderful people along the way. Kevin, I missed you. CJ missed you. We missed you at Blade Show. Hope to see you back next year. I saw a lot of old friends. My characterization of Blade Show that it wasn't awesome, but it was way better than expected. I think I didn't work the line this much this year, just because it was kind of a scale back year. I have a plan for next year's booth that's going to be absolutely fucking cool, and I think you guys are all going to love it. Very beautiful, interactive. So I'm already working on next year's Blade Show for the first time. This year was really minimal. Just a lot of really, really neat things, and I was touched by how many people, how awesome the vast majority of people are. They're just great, and I got to be careful talking about stuff because I get choked up. And like, you go, oh, we're just customers. I get choked up walking that line. Like, I walked it this year with my son and my daughter the first time, and everybody was coming out and shaking my hands and, hey, Greg, great to see you. And my kids were like, holy fuck, Dad, you're kind of a big deal. I'm like, I'm not really a big deal. There's 1,000 people in the country who think I'm kind of a big deal, and they're all right here. So these are my people. So my kids came along and they had a great time. Everybody who met them, thank you very much. You were all real sweet to them. I didn't get heckled in front of my kids, which was nice. I didn't want to be heckled in front of them. I've only been heckled once before, and it was pretty lame. And I think the guy'd been drinking, because when I was there, I was like, hey, man, I'm right here. Talk to me. I'm right here. The guy was like, put his hand up, like not to see me. It was kind of funny. I really, as I've looked at the cost of groceries and looked at the cost of gasoline, and I looked at the cost of knives, I just kind of wanted to flip the script a little bit, tilt everything on its head, and talk to a couple of friends. And I just thought it was time to, I want to try a different direction for a while. So we're going to keep making our legacy knives, and we'll do what we do. And then bring these new things. I want all of you guys who are longtime Medford buyers, every time somebody says, Medfords are all too fucking expensive, they go, no, they're not. This is $190. I'm like, what? Well, he must be getting shit made in China. No, it's made in his factory. I've seen video of the parts being made. Like, I want that to happen. The reason I show so much of what we do is because so many people do stuff underhandedly. And I love transparency. I think transparency is like, it's the great dehumidifier. It's the great antiseptic. And if I can find a way to bring 10 or 20 or 30,000 $200 knives out to the marketplace, that's 10, 20, or 30,000 future Medford buyers. All we have to do is make those knives fucking spectacular also. How can we not? That's what we do. We're going to make the best $200 knife the planet's ever seen. And then that $200 knife is going to impress someone so much, they'll want to come back and aspirationally buy one of the big boy knives. It's just the way it is. It's what we're going to do. Button locks, back locks, frame locks, out the fronts. I've never brought my own mechanism to the market. I've invented a product called Lock Square, and it's a lever over center cam lock. and it's not like anything that's in the marketplace anywhere. It is completely new and original. I originally designed it for the SOG knives, SOG knives, before they sold a couple years ago. And I like the mechanism so much. I was trying to rebrand the company, and I was going to do all their manufacturing here in the U.S. We could never come to terms, and they ended up selling the company. But mechanism I made for them is so good, we're going to make it. So it'll be my first original Greg Medford mechanism. You know, all these other types of knives I've made, these lock mechanisms have been done by other people. They were not conceptualized by me, but I'm going to bring a totally unique new mechanism to the marketplace. And I'm not going to patent it, because if other people use it, that's just awesome. I really believe in Elon Musk's open sourcing. Good things are good for all humans, and good things shared are good for all companies. And what's good for all companies is good for customers in the market, and it'll never be bad for my company to be open like that. So I'm not going to fucking put my blockers up and fucking sue everybody like an asshole. I'm going to bring a cool thing to the market, and if other people copy it, if they don't, that's cool. And if they do, mimicry is the sincerest form of flattery, right? Yes, we will do Vulcans for the $200 knives. I'm gonna fucking blow you guys away with $200 knives. I'm gonna fucking blow you away. You have no idea what's fucking coming. The cool knives that I've done that I know I can do with $200, it's gonna blow you guys away. I'm super excited about it. So, thanks for checking in. Thanks for coming around. It was probably my biggest live cast I've had in a long time. I'm very appreciative, very grateful, humbled by all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And I have awesome things to talk about tomorrow at noon. I'm out.